Redmi Note 9s, also known as a Redmi Note 9 Pro, is Redmi's best bet in the mid-range segment. Does this phone really have what it takes to be the best in its league? We'll find that out in this video. Now if you are new on the channel, please subscribe and press the bell icon. If you like this video at some point, do hit the thumbs up button too. Inside the box of the Redmi Note 9s, you get a SIM eject tool, a TPU case of very good quality, paperwork, the phone itself, an 18-watt fast charger, and a USB Type-C cable. As far as the price is concerned, this phone comes in at about $192. Price for other regions is on your screen. Color options of this phone include the Glacier White, the Interstellar Grey, Aurora Blue, which is also the color of our today's device. Let's start off with the design and the build of this phone. Redmi is one of those brands who's never afraid of trying something new. We see a new design language on the Redmi Note phones every year. The same goes for the Redmi Note 9s. This is a big phone with a very extraordinary camera cutout at the back. Redmi Note 9s weighs at about 211 grams. This phone is built out of glass, but its frame is of plastic, which doesn't feel like plastic in real. Premiumness is all over this phone and its heavy weight also adds to it. I wonder how Redmi manages to add this premium touch in a phone so cheap. The cameras at the back are fixed inside a protruding camera frame. When the phone is lying horizontally, it will not be flat. Redmi claims this phone to be splash proof, so make sure that you do not try taking it under a shower or inside a swimming pool. Redmi Note 9s has its fingerprint scanner and the power button on the right side beneath the volume rocker. At the bottom is the phone's headphone jack, the USB Type-C port, mic and a speaker grill. On the left is the phone's SIM card slot, which supports 2 nano SIM cards and a micro SD card at the same time. An IR blaster and secondary noise cancellation mic can be found at the top. Redmi Note 9s brings a 6.67 inches Full HD IPS LCD display. Since this phone has a very tiny punch hole in the middle, it bumps the screen to body ratio to 84.5%, achieving 20:9. LCD display on this phone doesn't mean that this isn't a good screen. In fact, it is as good as a Super AMOLED panel. It's just that the blacks are not going to be very black and the display's performance outside under the sun isn't going to be extraordinary. But as far as my experience goes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did not really have a problem using this phone indoor or outdoor. The colors are fine for the most part. The display has a brightness of 450 nits and it stays well lit in extra bright conditions too. Watching videos on this huge screen was an experience of its own kind. You have a 6.67 inches dot drop display to enjoy the Full HD videos or to play your favorite games. By the way, this display does support HDR10, which means that you can stream Netflix in HD. Redmi Note 9s's bezels are slightly notable. The bottom chin is also notable, but thankfully, these do not contribute a lot to the display. The display still looks brilliant. Right above the dot drop notch is the phone's call speaker, which also hides a tiny notification LED. Redmi Note 9s is powered by Snapdragon 720G 8nm chipset and has the Adreno 618 GPU. While this is a very power efficient CPU and GPU, it's not as powerful as last year's Redmi Note 8 Pro's G90T CPU. Redmi Note 9s has an AnTuTu score of 197,000, which is a lot lesser than Redmi Note 8 Pro's score. I played PUBG Mobile and the COD Mobile on this phone for about a couple of hours. Both games were capped at 40 frames per second in the Battle Royale mode. But COD Mobile's multiplayer mode did hit 60 frames per second. With the smooth and ultra settings in the PUBG Mobile, the phone did not lag. However, the moment I switched the graphics to HD, I could see the phone struggling a bit. Also, the phone heats up at about 45 degrees after an hour and half of the gameplay. But the good thing is that it cools down as soon as you quit the game. Redmi Note 9s has a RAM of 6GB and I believe this is going to be more than enough for your everyday task. Redmi phones do not keep the apps in the background all the time, so do not see this as a downside. This is actually a part of its operating system. On the software end, it runs on the Android 10 theme by the MIUI 11 out of the box. It is the typical MIUI and doesn't have the application drawer. On my Redmi Note 9s, I have installed the app drawer and you can find its link in the description below. The software of this phone occupies over 20GB of the storage by default. It means that you get only about 105 or 106GB of storage when you turn this phone on for the very first time. Storage is not a problem as it can be expanded up to 512GB via a microSD card. There is a single bottom firing speaker in this handset and that is pretty loud.
I wake up when I die.
To be honest, I found it pretty good. If you don't like the sound coming out of it, you can use the headphone jack, but you will have to get your own headphones as there is no headphone in this phone's box. Redmi Note 9S's uncommon camera module has 4 sensors. The main sensor is a 48MP Samsung GM2. Now this is the same sensor that is used in some of the Galaxy A51 units, so you can consider this camera a direct competitor to the Galaxy A51. An 8MP ultra-wide, 5MP macro and a 2MP depth camera is there at the back. This phone has a single 16MP camera fixed inside the front camera cutout. Note 9S's camera app is quite powerful. It is equipped with a very good portrait mode, a decent night mode. This app brings an integrated document scanner. The dedicated 48MP mode will let you shoot bigger pictures. It does have the Pro camera mode and the best thing, well, it has the Pro video mode too. Other than that, you can shoot 960fps super slow-mo, 240fps slow-mo and 120fps slow-mo as well. Note 9S can also shoot 4K at 30 frames per second or 1080p at 60 frames per second. But in both these modes, the EIS does not work. And yes, there is no OIS in this handset. In 1080p at 30 frames per second, the EIS works very well. Front camera also supports 1080p at 30 frames per second. Keeping in view the price tag, this camera takes very good images. All the images are usually well saturated, sharp and full of details. One thing that impressed me the most about the Redmi Note 9S is how this phone's camera captures the edges. The edges are just very much detailed and very good. Samsung GM2 in line with the Snapdragon 720 takes cooler photos. The ultra-wide camera, however, is not very good. It lacks details and colors are off in this mode. Macro camera is going to be very useful in situations where the subject is too small or too close to the camera. You all have seen that how big this phone is. The bigger size also means that we get a huge battery inside this handset. It has a 5020 mAh TYP battery. Now there is an 18W fast charger to add life to it. In my extremely stressful battery drain test, this phone lasted for over 9 hours and 30 minutes. This test was conducted with the 4G mobile data turned on with the screen brightness set at max. To charge this phone you would need about 1 hour and 50 minutes in order to go from 0 all the way up to 100. Pretty impressive, right? The side mounted power button of this phone acts as a fingerprint scanner too. Now this fingerprint scanner is definitely much more reliable and responsive than an on-display fingerprint scanner. Just in case you want a faster unlocking solution, you can definitely enable the Face ID unlock of this phone. Now this brings us to the conclusion of this review, and I have a lot of observations that I want to explain. In a price tag as low as $192, Redmi has delivered a remarkable device. We get a glass sandwich design, that too with one of the most recent Gorilla Glass protections. Redmi Note 9S brings a camera sensor that Samsung is offering in a price tag of about $300. Some people will see its LCD panel as one of its downsides, but believe me, you can live with it without facing any problems. Redmi's Note 9S has a huge potential to become the next bestseller in the mid-range segment. I would like to call it a premium mid-range because of its looks and its very solid build. I wish Redmi could have given us an in-display fingerprint scanner, but that would have increased the cost. Other than that, this phone offers an impressive screen, a great battery with impressive performance. A full camera comparison between the Redmi Note 9S and the Galaxy A51 is on its way. Stay tuned for that. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please hit the subscribe button now and do hit the like button as well. With that said, I will sign off and I will see you in the next one.